Hi, welcome to the newest episode of the J-Karp Show. Yes, we're going to be back, folks. I'm back. My football season's over. Which means I'm back to making these shows. To start things off, I just want to say congratulations to the San Francisco Giants. Yes, the San Francisco Giants are your 2012 Major League Baseball World Series champions. They swept the Detroit Tigers, who were heavily favored to win. They swept them in just 4 games. And this was a Giants team that was down in the NLDS, I believe it was 2-0, and then they were down 3-1 against the Cardinals, but they beat the odds and beat both of them and swept through the World Series. So they proved themselves as the best team in baseball. And I give them credit where credit is due, so congratulations to them. Now, on to the National Football League. It's the midseason in the National Football League. So I'm going to give you who I think, my 5 rankings, the 5 best teams and the 5 worst teams in the football league after 8 weeks. First, the 5 worst. The absolute worst is the Kansas City Chiefs. They can't score. They can't stop other teams from scoring. They're the first team since the 1929 Bisons. Yes, this is a real team. Look them up. To not have a single lead in a game throughout the entire season so far. The only team this far into the season to do that is 1929. Now, they do have one win, of course. That was against the New Orleans Saints. However, that was an overtime game, so they never technically led that game. Now, next we have the Carolina Panthers. This is a team that has some talent. Oh, wait, no, it just has Cam Newton. Cam Newton and Steve Smith are the Carolina Panthers. Bottom line, even Steve Smith is a great veteran receiver, but he's starting to go downhill because he has a poor supporting cast. The Panthers cannot get the job done on defense, one of the worst defenses in the league. And they just can't stop teams from scoring. And Newton doesn't have enough playmakers around him to make comebacks. Next, we have the Jaguars. With so much going on in Jacksonville right now, Blaine Gabbert still found a way to throw for 300-plus yards against the Packers last week. But it doesn't matter how many yards you throw for, because if you lose, you lose. And that's exactly what Jacksonville did. Jacksonville has just done poor on offense, actually, this year. They have not done that well on offense. But it's just, there's no playmakers. There's no chances. Their third down conversion rate's poor, one of the low in the league. And overall, they just, with all the off-the-field issue, Maurice Jones-Drew's contract has caused a big distraction across the city. These Jaguars need to figure themselves out, or they could be the next team heading to LA in a few years. Next, we have the Cardinals. Now, some people this may be a surprise why I have them this low. But when you think about it, this was a team that was 4-0 at the beginning of the year, and we were all jumping on the bandwagon thinking, wow, they're going to be a top contender. They're 4-4 right now. They're currently in a football game as we speak. This is not a contender at all. It's a contender for the #1 draft pick. That's the contender, therefore. They don't have a solid quarterback. Kevin Cobb is an okay quarterback, but he's not consistent. Fitzgerald's their only offensive playmaker because they've had Beanie Wells and Ryan Williams go down with injuries. They're just a mess. Speaking of mess, the last team on my top 5 worst teams, the New York Jets. Okay, I don't know what's worse for the Jets. Having their best receiver out for the year, their best corner out for the year, or having Mark Sanchez in at quarterback. It's just, he's done horrible. He's had a 15 QB rating or less in 4 games this year. And he's a starting quarterback. That is piss poor effort by Mark Sanchez. He needs to do a lot better, or it's going to be Tebow time in New York. Now to my 5 best. The 5th best team, I think, in the league right now is the San Francisco 49ers. They're the 5th best team, in my opinion. They need some work on offense. They need to be more consistent on offense with Alex Smith, who had a good start of the year, but after they lost to the Giants, it's just not been the same. But they have a solid defense and a solid running game. Just fix the passing game, and you got yourself a really good chance to make it back to a Super Bowl. The fourth is the Chicago Bears. They have a franchise record, 6 picks returned for touchdowns. This is a solid defense that we haven't seen in years, but something we also haven't seen in years was a consistent offense. Jay Cutler has honestly never looked so better. He's done a good job so far managing this team, and right now they're on their way to being 7-1. So congrats to him. Number 3, the New York Giants. New York Giants, former Super Bowl champ, defending Super Bowl champ. I mean, they're just doing a good job right now on the offense. They, however, need work on the secondary. Secondary's been a major issue for them. So they got to do a lot better at that. So, okay. So now we have the number 2 team in the league, the Texans. They got a good job. They got a good team all around them. You know, even though Brian Cushing went down early. J.J. Watt, a guy who stocked shelves a few years ago. Or, I'm sorry, delivering pizzas a few years ago. See, I'm so used to hearing about the Kurt Warner Cinderella story. Okay, J.J. Watt was delivering pizzas a few years ago. And I know where he's practically an MVP for the AFC. This could be a very good contender for the Super Bowl. However, there's one factor I see that will cause him not to get in the Super Bowl. Matt Schaub, as good as he is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. He cannot take the helm and lead a team to the Super Bowl. Just yet. I feel like eventually he will, but just not yet. And the number 1 team in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons. I know, it's such a shocker. Ooh. Okay, but this team has the best receiving core in football. You got Roddy White, Julio Jones, Tony Gonzalez, who, at 36, is doing a lot better than the 26-year-olds in the league. And you even got sleepers like Harry Douglas, who is doing really good right now. They have an all-around good team. Now, another thing that they have is Michael Turner and a strong running game. They also have a solid defense. However, while I believe they're the best team in football, they will not go undefeated this year. Simple reason. They are beatable. I mean, the Oakland Raiders almost beat them this year. Had Palmer not thrown a pick 6, they would have. So it proves that if the Raiders can almost beat you, you're not unbeatable. Now, now we got those out of the way. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the issues that are going around the league. First, with the Ravens. Losing Ladarius Webb and Ray Lewis has hurt the team more than just physicality on defense. It's lost mentality on defense. They can't tackle well. They have issues swarming to the ball. They've allowed 100-yard rushers the past 3 games. Right now, they're playing the Browns, and Trent Richardson's already rushed for over 100. I mean, it's just, the Baltimore Ravens are doing poor right now, and they're struggling on offense. They got blown out practically by the Houston Texans before their recent bye week. And this team's still 5-2 in the top of their division. But I don't see that lasting for long unless something sparks. I mean, they got Terrell Suggs back. That's good, but they are 30th right now in rushing defense, I should say. They have a lot of work to do if they want to keep that first place spot and make it to the playoffs. Next, we have the Jets QB issues. I say, honestly, I'm not a huge Tebow fan. I'm really not. I think he's all hype. I think it's just a whole bunch of oh wow, he got one good pass against the Steelers, which I'm thankful for, actually. But he's not that accurate of a quarterback. I think if he was a running back, he'd be amazing. But my thoughts, put Tebow in for 1 game. Give the guy a freaking shot, and maybe, just maybe, they'll pull out a win. And then you build from there. But Sanchez is not the answer for the Jets right now, and it's really hurting them in the long run. They cannot easily get a top 5 pick in the draft next year. But only time will tell. Now, my final thoughts on the second half of the season. Just a couple. Number 1, the Atlanta Falcons will lose twice. At least twice. I see them maybe going 14-2 or 13-3. Yeah, maybe 15-1, but I just don't see them pulling out every single game. Next, the Chicago Bears will win the NFC North. I mean, Rodgers and them have a shot too. It's either going to be the Packers or the Bears. Vikings, I don't see winning the North, but I do see them having a good shot at the playoffs. You never know. But any other thoughts? I really don't have. The Rams have work to do in offense. They need to get a team that half of which isn't injured every single week. They are the most unlucky team when it comes to these injuries. Half their line's been injured all year. Bradford didn't have enough time to throw. They scored 7 points on New England on the first drive last Sunday. New England scored 45 right afterwards. Bottom line is that the Rams want to go back to their winning ways. They need a consistent football team, and right now they do not have that. They got a solid defense, solid line, probably one of the best front fours in the league, but they need a consistent offense that can close out games and bring them to victory. That's about it for this episode of the J-Karp Show. I'll check you guys later.